Yo.
Hi, I'm Sinem. I'm Meltem, and you're watching Triple Threat Sports.
Hello, sports fans. Well, we're going into week 4 of the NFL season tomorrow, and the New York Giants are 0-3. And if you've watched Giant games, basically each game has gotten progressively worse than the last one. Now, coming into the season, there were some expectations for the Giants. Maybe not championship ones, but definitely we expected a good season out of them. Sports Illustrated picked them, I think, ranked them 6th going into the season. And clearly they've underperformed expectations. It won't be long before you start hearing, if it continues, and there's reasons to think that the season will continue to be bad. You're probably going to hear Tom Coughlin is too old. He's lost the team. Perry Fewell is a bad defensive coordinator, which I would agree with. Kevin Gilbride, should finally be sacked as offensive coordinator. But I think the problems with the Giants run much deeper than coaching, much deeper than a coordinator. For the last 6 years, Giant fans have had a mantra: in Reese we trust. Jerry Reese, that is, the general manager of the Giants. Ever since his first draft in 2007, the year the Giants won their first Super Bowl and they beat the undefeated Patriots to do it, his first draft, he drafted basically every player he drafted in that draft in 2007 contributed to the championship run. Steve Smith was the second-round draft pick. Aaron Ross was the first-round draft pick. Jay Alford, who made the big sack on Brady at the end of the game, the end of the Super Bowl in 08, was a third-round draft pick. Ahmad Bradshaw was a seventh-round draft pick. Kevin Boss was a fifth-round draft pick. Ever since then, Giant fans have had a mantra: Jerry Reese is a brilliant drafter, a brilliant general manager. The following season, the Giants were 12-4. They lost in the first round to the Eagles. But it was a sense that Plaxico Burress, if he didn't shoot himself in the thigh, the Giants could have made a run to the Super Bowl even that year. And again, Jerry Reese got a lot of credit. Then what happened the next year, 2009? The Giants were something of a consensus pick to win the championship, to win the Super Bowl that year. Sports Illustrated picked them, Sporting News picked them, if I remember correctly. Jerry Reese he signed Michael Boley at linebacker. He had signed Rocky Bernard and Chris Jenkins for the defensive line that year. A lot of expectations. The Giants finished the year 8-8 with some ugly losses to end the year. And that was the year they closed the old Giant Stadium, the old Meadowlands. They closed that year. Very disappointed season. Next year was sort of the same. They went 10-6. This was in 2010. They went 10-6, but against a very easy schedule. Their schedule that year turned out to be the easiest schedule in the league. Again, another disappointed season. 2011, they went 9-7. They won two very close games against the Cowboys. They kind of stuck into the playoffs, but they won the division, but it was a weak division that year, 9-7, and they won the Super Bowl again. Another great run. And once again, despite the fact that they were pretty mediocre that whole year, very up and down, Jerry Reese got tremendous credit again. In Reese we trust. 2 Super Bowls in the Manning, Reese, Coughlin era. Most Giants fans would have signed up for that back in the 2004 draft. He wound up acquiring Eli Manning. Last year, again, some expectations, but 9-7. Didn't make the playoffs. Again, very bad losses at the end of the year, and it's not looking good at all. I think it's time for Jerry Reese to be downgraded. If you look, the biggest problem right now with the Giants, anyone watching the game, it's simple. Offensive line has been non-functional. And if you look back and examine Jerry Reese, he's made some good free agent signings, but he doesn't really make his name. He doesn't seem to believe in making big splashes in the free agent market. He wants to make his name with the draft. And the draft is really where Giant fans have given him a lot of credit since he's been general manager. If you look at his drafting since 2007, if you take the top 3 rounds, which is subjective, but that's the way I look at it. Top 3 rounds, you find players. After that, if you get lucky in the 5th round, the 6th round, good for you. But the top 3 rounds for me is really where it counts. He's had 20 draft picks since the 2007 draft, which was a good one. 20 draft picks from 2007 to 2011. I'm not counting this past draft because the guys, they've just started. They're only 3 games into their NFL careers. You can't tell at this point what they are. But 20 draft picks between 2007 and 2011. Here's the breakdown of positions for those 20 draft picks. 6 wide receivers. That's the most drafted position by Reese. 6 out of 20. Nearly 1/3 of his draft picks in the first 2 rounds of his drafts have been wide receivers. He's hit on some. He's been a productive receiver. Steve Smith was a productive receiver. He signed Victor Cruz as an undrafted free agent, which is more luck than anything else. He signed Victor Cruz the day after the draft in 2010. So that kind of signing is more luck than talent evaluating. He's missed on from other picks. He missed on Ramses Barton, who didn't turn out to be productive. He missed on Joel Jernigan. Again, doesn't seem like he's going to be a productive player. But just the point that he took 6 receivers in the first 3 rounds of the draft. 6 out of 20 picks, wide receivers. 4 have been cornerbacks. Amon Ross, Terrell Thomas, Prince Amukamara, Javon Hosley. Again, he might have hit, it's a mixed bag there. But the point is, he's only drafted 1 offensive lineman of any of those 20 picks in the first 3 rounds of his draft since he's been here. And offensive line is where the problem is. The Giants had the best offensive line in the league in 2008 with David Deal, Kareem McKenzie, Seibert, Snee, Sean O'Hara at center. But since then, Jerry Reese signed David Boss to replace Sean O'Hara. David Boss has not been good. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries since he's got here. Has not been productive for the most part. He hasn't drafted any other player he drafted Will Beatty in the 2009 draft. And Will Beatty, who's had a very bad, tough year so far this year, but he's been a good, solid lineman since he's been starting in the starting lineup for the last couple of seasons. This year, not so much. This year, he's off to a bad start. But the point is, until this past draft, he drafted Justin Pugh in the first round in 2012. But again, Pugh is only a rookie. It's hard to tell what he's going to be at this point. But you can't deny the fact Jerry Reese let this offensive line regress. He did not. His failure to draft more linemen to replenish was clearly a regressing offensive line the last couple of seasons. I mean, the year they won the Super Bowl, they were the worst rushing team in the league. The year they won the Super Bowl, which they did win the Super Bowl, but still, it is weird that they were the worst rushing team in the league that year. Jerry Reese has to take criticism for letting the offensive line regress, and it goes back to not spending enough draft picks on receivers. The other position is the linebacker position. He's only drafted 1 linebacker in of those 20 picks, and that was Clint Sinem in 2009, which is probably the worst pick he ever made. Sinem was a non-factor in his NFL career. Reese has done nothing but he's filled the linebacker corps with late round draft picks that didn't pan out. Greg Jones, Philip Dillard, etc. If you look at the list, you'll see it. And unheralded free agents. The linebacker corps is weak. The middle of the field is open against the Giants for seemingly forever. And again, the linebacker position is generally considered to be not as prominent a position as it was in years past in the NFL, in previous eras, given that the NFL is such a passing league now. The linebacker position tends to be put on the back burner a little more, but still, it'd be nice to have some decent linebackers, and Reese has failed in that. So the prognosis is the Giants are going to have a bad year this year. It's hard to see them making the playoffs. It's hard to see them having a winning season. And the fault for this, I think, lies with Jerry Reese more than anyone else, more than Tom Coughlin, more than the coordinators. Now, going forward, Jerry Reese, the Giants have won 2 Super Bowl championships in his tenure, so he does get a chance to fix it. And maybe he did go some way to fix it by drafting Pugh in the first round in 2012. But his leash should not be, it's not an endless one. And Giant fans should not be so confident in Reese we trust mantra. He does deserve a chance to fix the team. One more offseason at least, one more draft, one more signing period to replenish and restock the team with talent. But if he fails at that, then I think it's time to seriously think about replacing him. Thank you.